Samir.
You feeling comfortable in there, Kent?
Sir? What'd you say, Scott?
Are you feeling comfortable in there?
I'm good, yeah. A lot of background chatter.
Your voice is really low, though.
Is there a way to turn it up, or I just need to talk louder? Do I just talk louder? Is this better, talking louder?
Just a little bit. Hey, Tyler, can you work with Kent a little bit to get the volume up on his microphone?
I'm just sitting here. We have 52 seconds. Hurry. Test 1, 2. Is this better, Scott? Test 1, 2. Test 1, 2. Better.
A little bit better.
Test 1, 2. Test 1, 2. Test 1, 2. Test 1, 2. Test 1, 2.
There you go. There you
Test
go.
1, 2. Test 1, 2.
That sounds good. Yeah.
Test 1, 2. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Hey.
I can hear Tyler singing.
I was singing.
Okay, this part right here is doesn't have any audio to it, but it's part of the OSIRIS-REx hazard avoidance scenarios that they had.
That was a very cool mission, you know.
Totally cool.
Amazingly how well it went so far, you know.
Yeah.
The
Yeah.
last thing I saw, they had some leaking. They were afraid the containment vessel hadn't fully closed.
Right.
They had some leaking. I haven't seen if they actually what, but the fact that they blew nitrogen and blew debris up was pretty cool.
Well, hello everybody. Scott Roberts here with Explore Scientific, and this is the Explorer Alliance Presents FirstLight Chronicles show, which is featuring Kent Marts. And each episode, I challenge Kent to put together systems that would make sense under a certain threshold, okay? And the show's generally to talk about how to get started in astronomy. And so happy to bring on Kent here. Let's see. There we are. So Kent had to take care of some issues today, so we kind of rushed things together, but that made the challenge all the greater, okay, because I just had to rely on Kent's knowledge on how to get someone started, and this time it's under $300, and so Kent, what did you come up with?
Well, I came up with, I thought I'd review a little bit. On Tuesday, we talked about the FirstLight AR 7700 millimeter alt-azimuth FirstLight telescope and the Explorer 1 Gemini 2 flatback black azimuth 70 millimeter azimuth telescope. Similar telescopes, different mounting system a little bit, but still very good starter telescopes, a little bit longer focal length. Fairly small aperture, will do good on the moon and planets and potentially terrestrial targets. So we came in, wanted to be under $200. So I came in at $150. One comes in a little bit below $150, the other one comes in a little bit above $150. So I thought I would, Scott said $300. I said, well, let's do the $250 and see what we can come up with. And so I came up with the FirstLight 114 millimeter Newtonian telescope on an EQ3 mount, which you can see right there over my shoulders. Okay.
Right.
Little secret, because I was out of the office for a few hours, I didn't have time to go back and actually pull a 114. So this is a full disclosure. That's not the exact telescope, but it looks exactly like it.
Looks pretty close to it.
It looks
That's
pretty
true.
close to it. And it's going to be exactly the same design, and you can see what it is. But, going through and looking at it, I was trying to think what I was going to say. And on our website, we have a review that was left by David Williams last year. And I thought, David Williams, a customer who used it, is going to say it better than I can probably say it. So here's what he said.
Okay.
I was looking for a good starter telescope that would have pro features, but wouldn't break my small bank. And that's exactly what these series of FirstLight Chronicles are. Finding ways to get into astronomy and not break the bank. After countless hours of looking at reviews, specs, and brands, I came across the 114 millimeter reflector by Explore Scientific. Best move I made was this purchase. The outer box was destroyed by the shipping carrier, which surprisingly happens fairly regularly, but this is also the good part, and was surprised to find that the Explore Scientific box was intact along with all that was inside. Our Explore Scientific telescopes come in a shipping box on the outside, and then the real box is on the inside. And we do that to protect our product and add an extra level of insurance that it's going to arrive in good shape at the customer.
Right. Yeah, because there's nothing worse than getting a telescope and you just hear glass and stuff shaking inside.
and periodically, despite being a really good box inside of a really good box, things do happen. And when that happens, call customer service, go to our customer service portal. 866-252-3811 is the number. And Scott will put that up in the quotes, 866-252-3811.
Yeah, sure.
Go to our website, find the customer service portal, send an email to service@explorerscientific.com, service@explorerscientific.com, and let us know what's going on. We'll take care of you. We've got, customer service folks who are ready to jump in and get you taken care of. If something's missing, broken, damaged, whatever, we're going to stand behind the product and take care of whatever it is. Mm-hmm. So David Williams went on, I didn't need the instructions to put it together fast, which tells me that he probably had a little bit of experience already because he did need directions. But the scope is not only a beautiful piece to look at, but the clarity and detail of the images blew me away. And with only my phone and a cheap $60 Astro camera, got some awesome pictures and videos of the moon, sun, and Jupiter.
Wow.
The customer service response with any questions is second to none. Scott has been awesome and attentive in everyday conversations as well as being helpful. I recommend this product and company to anyone who's looking to get the best bang for your buck. Okay, so.
Wow, that's a nice testimonial.
That was a nice testimonial, unsolicited. It's on the website for anybody to see. And he didn't put anonymous. He put his name with it. So it's a person out there that's a greatly satisfied customer. Mm-hmm. So that comes in, well below $250. So I had a little bit of wiggle room, and just like I did on Tuesday, I thought, okay, you also need a roadmap, which is a planisphere, and I recommend the Wiltarian multi-sided planisphere. So it's for the northern hemisphere, and it's got the northern sky on the front, and on the back it's got a view to the south. So this is, because it's a two-sided, while it's a small planisphere, the detail is much larger than it would be otherwise. And so this item, coupled with the red light flashlight, which these two items come packaged together for $29.99. These two things packaged together with the FirstLight Newtonian 114 millimeter telescope on an equatorial mount comes in grand total price of $259.95. So
okay, that's a pretty good deal. Again,
$260.
Everybody knows that I have eyepieces that sell for over $250. Okay, that's just an eyepiece. This is an optical set, 4.5 inches of aperture. You can see the broad range of celestial objects. If you're a good observer, you can see them from the city. If you're a beginner, we are going to recommend that you get to where the skies are dark. So based off of your experience, Kent, here we're kind of in suburbia. We don't live in a big city, but how far out of suburbia do you have to get to where skies are reasonably dark
to put this in perspective?
Objects.
We live, our metropolitan statistical area has about 500,000 people along the main corridor. And another couple 100,000 spread out over 4 or 5 counties. Mm-hmm. So 800,000 people roughly.
Right.
We can be from where we're sitting in Western Springdale. I can be from here to a decently dark site in 20 minutes. It doesn't take that long for us because we're on the edge. We're not on the edge, but we're not in the downtown heart. But we can get out to out past a town called Tawny Town, and there's a little bit of national forest out there, and find places to do observing.
Really dark. That's true. Yeah. Truly dark.
So truly dark. Bortle 3.5 skies, decently dark. If you lived in a big city, you may have to drive an hour to get outside. But it's an investment in time. People, say, man, astronomy can be a really expensive hobby. And I'll say, do you know somebody that has a bass boat? And they'll go, well, I have a bass boat. I said, do you go bass fishing? Well, yeah, I'll go bass fishing.
That's an expensive hobby.
Okay, so you got a $30,000 boat and a $40,000 pickup truck to pull it, and you have to do gas and buy bait and lures and fishing rods and everything else. So astronomy is not that expensive of a hobby.
That's right.
Compared to a lot of other hobbies you can get into.
That's right.
So those guys have to drive an hour to the lake or whatever every time they want to go fishing. It's an investment in time and investment in your hobby to grow your knowledge and understand. you can look at the moon and the planets
Yeah.
from any place. Their light pollution affects them a little bit. I mean, if you lived in, really, downtown New York
Oh, I
City, you're going to have a trouble
can't. I
probably.
have done. I've used 90 millimeter Maxutov reflectors in Central Park, New York
Okay,
City.
there we go.
Okay, and
And
I was able to show people, of course, the planets and the moon, but we saw some other bright deep sky objects. You could just see the hint of them, but things like M13 and that type of thing, where you've got a bright cluster of stars. Certainly, you can see some beautiful double stars like Alberio, which is
golden blue.
yeah, you can see that from the heart of the city. And as you increase in aperture, and as I give you more money to spend on these shows, you can get into larger aperture, and Kent will show you the best bang for your buck per inch of aperture, and the different types of astronomy you can do. What will get interesting, it will be what's going to be the least expensive astrographic system you can get into. So.
You haven't told me about that yet.
Yeah,
Great.
that's coming.
Okay. All right. I got to start thinking about that.
Hey, we got a comment here. Scott, do you know if Tyler fixed that issue with the country entries? I haven't heard from him. We'll find out. Tyler, we have a question from one of the Stefan, who's trying to enter.
Explore Alliance guy?
Yeah. At the very least, what we can do, Stefan, is just take your information the old-fashioned way and enter it, and you're going to be fine. So,
I have all this information.
yeah, then it's not a problem right now. Yeah. Okay. So anyhow, some other comments. Let's talk about the. If you guys haven't figured it out yet, I'm out here in the open commons area of Explore Scientific, and customer service representatives are right over here. We've got sales offices right up and down here. So I'm kind of out in the open and not hiding in my office as I might normally be. The last time that we did a FirstLight Chronicles, both Kent and I were at the same table with face masks on. And I thought, gosh, it'd be a lot more comfortable if Kent could be in one area and me in another. Actually, Kent's just right on the other side of this window. Here, I can see him.
Hi, Scott.
I can see him back there. So
I'm sitting in the store is actually where I'm sitting right now.
yeah, right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So anyhow, but we plan to get that fixed, Stefan. So.
So let's talk about,
Sure.
how do you get started? You want to buy a telescope, research, and I tell people that people will ask me, what's the best telescope to buy? And my answers, I like to answer in metaphors and parables sort of thing. If you just go out and buy something and you buy a Hyundai car and you wanted to haul firewood, you probably bought the wrong thing. Likewise, if all you want something is to just go get groceries and you buy a big jacked up diesel pickup truck, you may have bought the wrong thing.
The wrong thing.
And
Exactly.
so there's no one answer. And at the end of the day, the best telescope is the one you buy and you go use, and start learning the sky, start learning how to use a planisphere or something else to tell you what's up in the sky tonight. Because not knowing what to go look at, if you just go out and plop a telescope down, you can find Jupiter and the moon and Saturn and Mars right now. But that's going to be it. Knowing what to point your telescope out past that can be a challenge. And you've got to do some research and learn some things about the night sky and go practice doing those things until you learn how to do it. Obviously, pre-COVID, finding an astronomy club or a mentor who does this is always, our first, finding an astronomy club.
Yeah.
Find
That's
a mentor. And in this days and times, it's having a mentor.
We're trying to be the mentor for you. We're trying to kind of go through some of these scenarios for you. So that's part of the deal.
So you're out under the dark skies. You're out you're in a backyard. You find Jupiter and Saturn and the moon. Expectations are are high and the return sometimes doesn't achieve expectations because of the pictures you see on Facebook, or Instagram, or even in books and print magazines. Those pictures are not just take your phone or camera and go click. Those pictures are data built up over hours, days, weeks, and months sometimes to create that beautiful picture that's really an artistic rendering of what's up there. The camera can see what your eye can't, colors of light your eye can't. And then the astrophotographer converts those colors into colors that you can see, those wavelengths into colors you can see, and then builds it up over time. And so those pictures you're not going to see. So you have to have an expectation of what you're really going to see. And I think that's oftentimes more and more with the spread of social media and pictures people see, they don't understand that those are, something that your eyeball is not going to see. You can't see it, which doesn't mean it's not cool to look at. I'm always fascinated by the fact that when you look at the Andromeda Galaxy, which under good dark skies, you can look up and see the Andromeda Galaxy with your naked eye. And it's the farthest away thing you can see with your naked eye. It's 2.5 million light years away. And when you look up and you see it, realize that those photons have been traveling for 2.5 million years. And their entire destiny for all that time was to go boink into your eyeballs. And your body absorbed energy that was 2.5 million years old. You have 2.5 million year old energy inside of your 10, 20, 30, 50, 90-year-old body. We're all made out of stardust. Everything in our body was created in another star that went supernova. And we're just recycled star material. And, that energy it fascinates me. I love using that discussion out at star parties because many people really have an emotional awareness of, gee, that's pretty cool. But if you don't know where to look for Andromeda, what you're looking for, you can't find it. So get out there, look at some sky maps. With cell phones and the internet now, we have a ton of resources available, more information than ever before, right at our finger, in our pocket. You've got to do your research, get out there and see what's going on. But you have to go out under the night skies and look up. That's what it comes down to.
That's right. And take Kent with you.
Sure. If you want to fly after COVID's over, if you want to pay to fly me to your house, I will give you lessons. I will give you. Scott let me off. I will give you lessons.
That's right. So, anyways, let's recognize some of the people that are watching today. We have Dale Beasley. He's saying, "Hey, Kent."
Hey, Dale.
Norm Hughes. Good afternoon, everybody. James, the astrophotographer. Michael Whitaker. Book Davies. We've got Stefan, who I mentioned before. He had a question over there for Tyler, but we're getting him set up. Erita Durgudi is on, says hello. We've got Dave Ing, says hello from Southern California. We have, might not have mentioned this, Jim Norwood. He says, "Have you kissed your asteroid today?" Big smiley face.
He also has a comment I can see on my screen. It says, "My astrophotography rig, utilizing the Explorer Scientific Exos 100,
Yeah.
a 70 millimeter telescope,
72 millimeter EDOTA,
and a 6 millimeter or 6 megapixel camera is only $1,200. Yeah,
right.
That's pretty cool. So all you people out there right now, look, like us and share. Like what we're doing. Share this right now. Take a minute, share it on whatever stream you're on. Let the people that you have on your social media site know we're here. Spread the word about what we're doing because it's great. We have this great community. We want to spread the word, and that's part of what we're trying to do is spread the word about the great products we have and the great community that Scott has built through these various broadcasts. And I really love these things. I love seeing the interaction with the customers in this unique format.
If you're not buying Explore Scientific, that's fine. There are many great brands of products out there. Okay. We're not the only telescope company out there. We talk about our gear sometimes, like on this show, because, well, frankly, that's all we have is our product line. But we try to do a good job with it. We try to give you great value with it. We try to give you the best service for it. So that's what we're all about. But by no means are we the only game in town. There are there are examples like Kent was talking about this 114 with the EQ3 mount. You might be able to find something used from another. Maybe it's a who knows what, an Orion product or an old Celestron product or a Meade product or something like that. Another way to go to get into it very inexpensively is to scrounge those, Craigslist or, maybe a garage sale or something like that. So those are things to look at. Or you may already have one and it's time to dig it out of the closet or the attic, dust it off. If you need help collimating it or something like that, or getting it to where it needs to be, replace an eyepiece, call us. We can get you going. We've helped many, many people that way.
And we don't limit it to our telescopes.
That's true.
I will have people call.
We repair other brands of telescopes. We've done it many times as well.
If we can, if something we can tackle, we'll do it.
Yeah.
And I have been talking to people, and they want me to compare telescopes, and I do the best job I can to tell them why I think ours product is best. But at the end of the day, we want you to buy something. We want to get people into this hobby of amateur
people to
astronomy.
Get their gear, whether you buy it or giving it.
And if you don't buy it from us, buy it from somebody else.
Yep.
But buy something and get in the hobby. And if I recommend that you want to do this, and maybe this is a better telescope from another brand, I have done that. Shh, don't tell Scott. But the point of it is, we need more people in amateur astronomy with whatever brand they have.
Or make it yourself. Make it yourself, you know. Yeah. I mentioned, I think, in the FirstLight Chronicles show that, if you're into building your own stuff, we might have parts. If you want to try to build a little Newtonian telescope or something like that, we could probably sell you the parts to get you going, and there's a big sense of accomplishment when you make your own and that kind of thing. We don't have a lot of that stuff, but we do have some of it. So if you're on a project, if you're in Boy Scouts, Girl Scouts, at home schooling, whatever it is, we have telescope kits, including the Galileo scope, which is a great deal. But anyways.
Scott, Tuesday, why don't I put a Galileo scope on the air? Galileo scope together.
On the air. Okay.
On the air. Yeah, let's try to do that.
We'll challenge you. We'll see how fast you can put one together.
No, it's not about speed. It's about doing it accurately.
It is about doing it accurately.
I can probably put one together I've done it a couple of times, well under 10 minutes.
There you go.
Yeah, okay. Well under 10 minutes.
All right. Yeah.
So
very cool.
We haven't talked about binoculars. Always talking about binoculars.
Yeah, that should be part of. For under $300, the kit that you're talking about, you could add a pair of 10 by 50 binoculars, right?
Really? Yeah. We could, to stay under $300, you can get a pair of 10 by 50 binoculars as well, and you're still under $300.
Right.
Yeah, for sure. And 10 by 50 binoculars, as long as they're, we have a pair for $40. And they're great binoculars, and they're a National Geographic branded product that we license and make, and they're great binoculars. Any 10 by 50 is going to be better than your eyes.
It's going to let you see comets and nebula in the Milky Way and that kind of thing. So
don't be afraid.
A lot of light concentrating, and you've got two of them. You're on both eyes, so
which makes it better. So one trick, and I wish I had a. The problem with binoculars are you're holding them up, and every time your heart beats, your hands move.
Yes.
And a trick I have is I get a fitted ball cap, not a stretchy one size fits all, but either a fitted or a snapback, and I pull it down tight on my head, and then when I go to look at something, I reach up and reach around and grab the bill, pinch the bill of my ball cap, to the top of the binoculars. So now the binoculars are attached to my head basically, and I can see significantly more things with my binoculars just by doing that, because my hands hold still, and Scott disappeared. I'm not sure where he went. So it must be camera.
I went to go get my pair of binoculars.
Oh, okay. There we go. So
And I'm going to show them what I do. Okay, so
Okay.
there are all kinds of little tricks here, but let's see. So my trick is to take your elbows, okay, and pull them in down towards your chest, okay,
right against your
like
ribs.
this.
Right
And
against your
Don't
ribs.
hold the binoculars like this, okay? Don't do it like that, because now you got a pivot point. All right? So if your hands are trembling a little bit, okay, as mine do, what you do is you put your thumb all the way back down like this, and you put your other thumb all the way back down like that. Now you've got a platform that's holding the binocular. It's almost as long as the binocular itself, right? So then what you do is you take the binocular, you adjust the inner pupillary distance so you don't have blackout. You know, you're getting let me see if I can get that right. You can see the exit pupils right here, those two bright dots. There's one right here.
Yeah, we can see them.
See those? And then the other one right there. And you need to adjust these right over your eyes, okay? And if you're like William Herschel, you would have stayed in a darkened room for 30 minutes or an hour so that your eyes are dilated, okay? But you adjust them like so. You cover this side because you got independent focus on most binoculars on the right side. So you cover this side, relax your eyes, get a focus here, and then what you do is you cover that side and turn the right eye focus. You get a nice focus there. Then you kind of just look through both eyes and touch it up until you got razor sharp. If you close your eye, you'll deform the eye slightly, okay? And so it'll relax back, but you're throwing your eye out of focus, okay? So you just want to...
And that's why you cover it up, so
Right.
that eye stays, right?
So I bring my elbows in, I rest my elbows against my chest. Now this doesn't help me with the heartbeat, okay? But relax your hands and then kind of push up so that the tops of these cups are now hitting the tops of your eye socket, I guess, or the brow area.
And you're
And now
actually
you can do this. Now looking up, you're actually going to have to tilt back, okay? So in that regard, I recommend, Ken, have you ever seen those zero gravity chairs where it's like a recliner? Okay.
Yeah. You know, camp
Using
chairs.
that technique.
Yeah, camp chair.
Yeah. A camp chair, something that's a recliner. And then you can look, and you can look for a long time. You're not going to get fatigued. You're not going to have a lot of shake, you know. And so that will help you, okay? And if you're just looking at birds or eagles or whatever it is that you're looking at, you know.
So use that technique, and that's a technique that I
Bring
use.
your arms in,
You
use
and
your
I,
hands
Scott,
straight out, use the whole palm of your hand and your thumb, okay? Push
that was a
up.
technique.
Yeah, now you got this kind of triangle
We
shape
used to use that
that's
doing-
really stabilizing yourself.
Back in Scott, you and I are both photographers, longtime photographers. That
Yep.
exact technique, I would hold a long telephoto lens right
Yeah,
here
yeah,
in my
you would
hand,
pull in your arm like that.
and then press against my head, make a triangle, focus with my fingers
Same
right
deal.
here,
It's
and
exactly
then
the same deal.
just hold. I go, and then click, and I could take an amazingly long exposure picture by doing that technique.
With the
It's
telephoto lens.
With a long 600 millimeter telephoto lens,
Yeah.
I was able to take some
You
pretty.
probably did more that than I did. You were
Yeah.
a newspaper photographer, so.
Yeah, and I took some really, 30th, 20th, 15th of a second exposures with a 600 millimeter telephoto lens. Prop up against a tree, do everything you can to not shake. It's the same thing. You're trying to do everything you can to not shake those binoculars. And using that technique like Scott had and push them against your eyebrow, you use add my ball cap technique to click down. Each one of those little things adds, what, a quarter of a magnitude, Scott, half a magnitude or something. And so it adds up to a couple of magnitude of dimmer stars that you're going to be able to see.
Right.
And the more you can see, the better the experience.
That's true. That's true.
Marco Polo.
I put up the widget so people could see the comments, coming in from the show.
Marco Polo has some 10 by 70s. Here's somebody with 15 by 70s. Yeah, those big boys live on a tripod or a monopod or something. My dad built a rig years ago that he had the binoculars mounted on a 1/4 by 20, and and then he built sort of like a big H, not an H, but a box like that. And he had a counterweight on the back side.
On the back.
And so behind him, and so he counterweighted it. So basically, he set it on his shoulders. He had little things that he set on the shoulders. I wish I had a picture of it, but I've never seen it. I saw him use it, but I've not found it. And so he was able to set it on his shoulders, and the counterweight counterbalanced the big binoculars, and he was able to just do this. It was fantastic,
Yeah.
Ingenuity, and that's what this hobby builds tinkerers. I saw Elliot Neal. Elliot Neal was watching.
Yeah, Elliot's on here. That's right. Yeah. He's saying observing checklists, planisphere or a basic star chart. Check. Yeah. Guidebook or app for your cell phone. Check. Red flashlight. Check. Binoculars are easy to use. Small telescope. Check. Observing chair. Check. Table. Yes. Table with mimosa. Better.
Well, he's not talking about the tree and the pretty flowers.
No,
either.
He's not. Yeah, no. That's right. Your favorite drink. Let's just say that. Friends who can make, serve, or share mimosas. Ideal. Now you're ready to go. Oh, that's right.
So we need to have Elliot on one of the night broadcasts.
I'd love to have Elliot on. He's fun.
And show his pictures. I mean, have him bring on a couple of handcrafted.
Elliot should show some of the telescopes he's made. Those
that's
beautiful
what I'm saying.
Wooden creations
works
that
of art.
made. Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah, he's the telescope maker.
Somebody asked, "What's that tent behind you, Scott?"
Someone asked earlier too, and this is the prototype. This is the prototype of the. Whoops. A little bit off here. Sorry.
Well, there goes the telescope, proving that they're tough, and might have to go back to customer service now.
This is the prototype of the observing tent. Just don't put your leg on the corner where I lifted up and pulled the telescope over. But we made a bunch of changes to this, so that's the observing tent that we showed earlier with the doors fold down instead of from the side and stuff like that. So, but
we're looking at those for Explore Alliance paid members have another 2 days to
2 days to save $50 on it. That's true.
To save $2 off of the introductory sale price, which is really $100 off the retail. So
it's a super deal.
Send your email if you want to buy one and you're an Explore Alliance member, or you want to buy one you can go ahead and say, I'm going to join Explore Alliance. Join the Explore Alliance, get a paid membership. Send an email to Explore Alliance at explorescientific.com. Explore Alliance at explorescientific.com.
I'll put that out there so they don't get confused.
Yeah. Shoot that to us, and we'll get you on the list. Buy your Explore Alliance membership. And here's a little secret about the Explore Alliance. You buy the platinum level, you get $100 back. It costs $99.
It's not a secret. It's basically
it's not a secret.
Basically a free program, but you get tons of benefits.
We actually give you a penny back. We give you more by 1 penny than you use to buy it. That is on a gift card.
It's almost like buy here with it or something. That's right.
Yeah, exactly. So it's a tremendous program. You're going to get, and we're going to have a product that I've worked on. I was hoping to get it announced today, but it looks like it may be tomorrow now. Mm-hmm. A new interesting product that we've developed in-house. Do we want to talk about what that is, Scott?
No, we'll talk about it. That's fine.
Okay. I don't have one. I should have gotten one in hand. We're going to announce.
Let me see if I have something in my office.
Okay. So this is a new product, and this was designed and built based on repeated phone calls from customer service. And the question was, what foot and finder scopes work on your foot that comes on your telescopes? And our answer is Explore Scientific and Meade feet. Well, they said, well, I have an Orion telescope. What do I do? Well, there's a couple of okay options out there, but Scott tasked our R&D department to set to work and find a solution. And the solution Scott's apparently digging for is the Finder Base 2-in-1. And we're going to announce this tomorrow. It's going to be a pretty good price. Explore Scientific, Explore Alliance members are going to get a heck of a deal on it.
Yeah, it was still in the studio being photographed. But yeah. Here it is. Okay, you can see that it's got a channel to take our T-style base, but it's also got the kind of Dixon, Cinta, Celestron, everybody else in the whole world type of adapter on it as well. It's all metal. This is an extruded piece of metal here, and then it's got metal screws that can be applied on both sides. So you've got threaded holes on that side too. So it's reversible. It's got safety stops on it so that your finders don't slip through. And this just shows how it works on our standard finders. But it's going
to be a pretty good product. I've already seen 2 or 3 people going, "Ooh, I've been looking for that."
Ooh, exactly. Yeah. Look, so we want you to be able to use. I mean, if you got other finder scopes or other. There's some really cool slide-on gadget that would work on that kind of an adapter. Now you can replace your finder scope base on your Explore Scientific scopes. You can apply it towards your other telescopes as well. And so that, so this will replace the boot on the AR102, and the answer is yes, Wade, it will. So,
and the holes are compatible, so it's a simple switch out.
Right.
We're going to include a template. So if you have to drill holes, if you have a telescope that doesn't have the holes right, you can tape it down, tap your holes, pilot hole, then a real hole to make.
And by the way, the I'm not showing the attaching bolts down here, but there will be attaching bolts to nail this thing down to your telescope. So
look, if you guys and gals want one, believe me, it's going to be a really good price. Trust me on this. Go ahead and send an email to the Explore Alliance at explorescientific.com, and we will get you set up. And like Dale said, yes, please take more of my money. So Dale, yes. we'll take more of your money. So it's going to be a great product. On ED80s, the curve is so sharp on an ED80, it's going to take a little bit of a felt to keep it from wobbling potentially. But after that, it fits on every telescope. So smaller telescopes.
I'd probably use like some 3M tape or something like that so that you could add that. Maybe we can put something together so it's part of the package. So yeah.
But it's going to be it's a solid product. It's, like I said, anodized black metal. They did a real good job of developing
built to last.
Yeah,
built to last. That's right.
This is not cheap. This is not cheap rickety thing. Right. Mm-hmm. So you heard it here
what else
first.
Would you advise? What else would you advise beginners? Let's say that someone comes to you and they say, well, I do want to do astrophotography. I can only spend this $300. What are you going to advise them to do?
Do your study. Learn the sky. Try to find somebody with a telescope if you can. But Scott, I always say this, and Scott says, yeah, I can't, but in COVID, they can't. At some point, you're going to break down and buy a telescope. And you're going to buy the telescope, and you're going to have to learn how to use it. It's not a toaster where you get the thing, plug it in, put in 2 pieces of white bread, push it down, and 90 seconds later, out pop 2 perfect pieces of toast. It's not a hole-in-one machine where you go out and play golf, and drop a ball in and press the button, and it GPSs and knows where it is, and it says, I need a 9-iron. And it goes, I need this much force, and I need this thing, and it goes cluck, and you ploink and lands in the hole. That's not playing golf.
No, and you're not a golfer.
And you're not a golfer.
Right.
There are things that you have to learn. And the way to learn it is to go out and do it. And you just keep chipping away at it and learn something. Approach it with a scientific process. Change one variable and see what it does. But get out there and just go do. And start with the easy targets. Do Orion's Nebula.
Yeah.
Which is coming up.
M13 is easy to find.
M13. This time of year, Orion's coming up a couple hours after sunset. It's going to come up earlier and earlier and become a good evening time object here as we get into winter. Orion's Nebula off to the east. The moon, a big, easy target. And do easy things. And don't take the approach of, well, I've seen the moon. The moon changes by the hour because that shadow line moves, and it changes all day and all night long. Orion's Nebula doesn't change over the time frame really that we can see, but you can look at Orion's Nebula night after night and learn to see more and more detail. And I think that's a key to enjoyment is you're not going to go, okay, I've seen it, and then never go back to it. Stay on Orion's Nebula for half an hour and sit there in the eyepiece and
look at it. Oh my goodness, people spend a lifetime looking at the Orion Nebula.
Right.
There's so much going on in that nebula. You really could dedicate your life to it.
And just sit there and just look at it and learn to see it. It's just like the bands of Jupiter. Watch the bands of Jupiter, watch the moons rotate. The more you look at these things, the more your mind comprehends what's going on. Stefan Del Pra, he started with an iPhone at the eyepiece doing astrophotography. And that's the way many people are getting started. And they go, well, that's nice, but I can do better. And then they start stacking images. And we had Heath Creekmore took a picture of with his iPhone, Orion's Nebula.
An iPhone. Keith, which iPhone do you have? I think he's talking to another.
It's a Pro
iPhone
11.
10.
iPhone 10.
It's an iPhone 10.
And he just held it up to the eyepiece of, well, it was the 20-inch Dobbs, so he did have an advantage of a lot of light coming through the eyepiece. But still, went click and held it there handheld for 10 seconds and got a really nice picture of Orion's Nebula.
Yeah, with color.
M42. With color, with reds and blues and greens. And it didn't burn out the central stars, in the middle. I mean, it was really good. And it was a single exposure. It wasn't stacked or anything else.
That's right.
So you start like that. You don't think you can't do something.
That's true.
Think you can. And
so even the packages that you have already mentioned, your $200 packages or under $150 packages, with a smartphone, you can start doing some simple astrophotography. So it's very possible. They have new apps these days that stack and track in the iPhone or in smartphones. And so it's really amazing what you can do. There's no excuse these days not to start to try to take pictures through your telescope, even if you're holding the smartphone over the eyepiece. Spend a few more bucks. There are adapters to hold your iPhone over it. The FirstLight series comes with a simple smartphone camera adapter. There are better ones, that you can buy. So it's just a matter of getting out there and doing it and trying it and experimenting with it. So, and have fun,
And don't compare yourself to other people. That's like going to Crystal Bridges Museum of American Art, which is here in Northwest Arkansas, and looking at a painting and go, I want to start painting. And you go home and you buy paints and you paint and go, well, it doesn't look anything like that picture I saw in the museum. The heck with it. You throw it all into the garage sale and you never paint again. It's the same thing. Start painting. You may not ever be as good as whoever.
You might be better.
But you might be better.
You might be better.
And you just got to start doing it and look at what you did and go, I did that. I created that image of M42 or took that picture of Jupiter and the moon. Enjoy it. Make prints. Share it with your friends. You know, you'd be surprised that putting a picture, a simple picture from the iPhone on your social media stream, you'll be shocked at the comments you'll get from people. And you know, you'll think it's not very good, and people will just be floored that you were able to take that picture. And the point being, coming out of COVID, when we hopefully start having star parties and gatherings again, you'll have some friends over and say, hey, you want to look through my telescope? And you're going to show them Jupiter or the Mars or the moon, and they're going to get excited about it. And suddenly they're interested in something that you have passion about. And it's a cool way to get started. You know, it's that, you know, hopefully this COVID thing goes away enough to where we can start having some contact like we had in the past. I miss star parties immensely. We haven't talked about star parties. Star parties are gatherings where astronomers get together and geek out for 2 or 3 nights or one night for a couple of hours. And, you know, they're small little things, or they can be really big things with 600 people in the Florida Keys, you know, at the Winter Star Party, or 200 people in Nebraska, or how many people at Fort Davis for Texas Star Party,
Right.
You know, Okie-Tex. There's all sorts up in the Rocky Mountains and the East Coast. They're great fun, and you meet new people and learn new things. I love star parties. All right. So any comments there, Jeff?
He said barbecue and party while observing. Great fun.
Well, we've done that actually.
That's true.
We've done that. And, you know, Scott's planning or challenged me to come up with a.
Yeah, I'm going to challenge him on how to have a massive star party for under $200.
Yeah. So, well, the ticket would probably be under $200, but, you know, to get in, but.
You probably could do them for free, you know, and we have, of course.
But if you want to have a band playing, you know, Aerosmith or Bob Seger or somebody, and, you know, artist and wine tasting during the day.
No Bob Seger, you know, but unless Bob just wants to show up, but
make it at a big festival that then is astronomy at night. And there was a couple of weekends ago, we went to a bluegrass festival and had a couple hundred people come up and look through the telescopes. And, you know, it's been 14 days and none of us came down with the COVID. So it worked.
You got lucky.
It either got lucky or our protocols were successful. Masks, alcohol on an eyepiece every time a new person comes up. Alcohol on your hands.
Put on a mask and take it off and drink some alcohol and then put it.
That you could do. Actually, they had been drinking alcohol and partaking of medicinal substances. It's a music festival after all. And we're coming up to the telescope and we're just blown away that we were used to do that. Yeah.
So Dale Beasley says, I used to set up in the Safeway parking lot and just enjoy watching people see the rings of Saturn for the first time. Dale, I'm with you on that. That is the juice for me. You know, I love to let people look through a telescope and see the craters on the moon or the rings around Saturn for the first time. When I was younger, and you know, I mean, the whole reason I really got deep into astronomy is I wanted to see galaxies with my naked eye. Okay, I wanted to see spiral arms, and I wanted to see the structure. I wanted to see fossil light with my own eyes. You know, not in a photograph, but with my own eyes. And so I was constantly looking for the next bigger telescope. I had aperture fever bad. I really did. And but I found in sharing the experience that even though I could get really super excited about seeing Stephen's Quintet or something like that, that was like at just the edge of the observable limit of my telescope, the thing that would always wow people is the rings of Saturn or the craters on the moon. So a story I used to do, the MIT Alumni Association in Southern California would invite me out to show people the stars and stuff like that. And we did it every year. But the first year, I got a big lesson. Now, these are real rocket scientists, okay, coming out for this, all right? And so I thought that I would challenge them by looking ever further, ever deeper out into space. And, I had the distance of each galaxy memorized and all the rest of it. And after showing them everything on that first star party, they were really kind of stoic, yeah, okay. Finally, one of the scientists pointed out and he says, "Hey, Scott, what's that bright one over there?" And I said, "Oh, that's Saturn." And they said, "Well, can we see that?" And I go, "Well, sure." And I swung the scope over to Saturn. And when the first scientist got up to the eyepiece, he goes, "Oh my God, you could actually see the rings."
Rocket scientist.
Scientist.
Yeah.
And I thought, okay, all right, I've been doing this outreach all wrong, okay? And they got in this big line, they ran over to the telescope to look through it, and they were just remarking about, the structure of the rings and how beautiful it was and all the rest of it. So, Saturn is a great gateway object to get started with. And of course, we all love it anytime that we look at it. I don't care how long you've been into astronomy. Saturn's beautiful, and stunning, and changes, So over each appearance and each opposition. So,
I like being at a star party, and you can see that cone of light coming out of the eyepiece, and you can see it moving around their eye, and they don't see it.
Right.
And moving around, all of a sudden it disappears in their pupil, and they go.
You can hear the gasp. Yeah.
And you hear that gasp. You see that light disappear off their eyeball into their pupil, and they saw it. Even little kids, their parents, they're going, "Yeah, I see it. I see it." They don't see it because you can see the eye, and then all of a sudden, boink, it disappears. Yeah. And they shudder or something. And it's such a great feeling to see people do that. Yeah. And to realize that, and to have them cry or, it just get real emotional about it. It really is an awesome feeling. And I'm sure if Dale, has had people in the Safeway parking lot do it. Jeff Weiss says it still takes my breath away.
Sure.
Yeah,
I'm sure.
Yeah,
it's wonderful that there are so many people who have done it, and eventually we'll be able to do it again. That's going to happen. So, but
yeah, Elliot Neal wants Brian.
For a rock and star party, you need a genuine astronomy rock star, musician from Queen, Brian May.
He has his PhD in astrophysics.
Yeah, that's right.
Elliot,
we are going. I mean, I'll let out, and I mentioned it before, but we are invited. Explore Scientific is going to be hosting the star party for the Starmus event, which is going to be next year, September, in Armenia. We're flying all the way to Armenia. We're going to set up. We're going to join up with the guys at Explore Scientific Europe. There is supposed to be thousands of people at this star party, and apparently Brian May from Queen is giving a free concert in the city square. So that's what I hear anyway. So it's going to be an amazing event. Look up Starmus. It's STARMUS.com. If you are looking, if you got your latest issue of Astronomy magazine, you can watch David Eicher, chief editor of Astronomy magazine, on the next Global Star Party. He's giving a series of talks. But in this particular issue, on page 52, they say, get ready for Starmus 6, and it's all about Mars. So, if you can get out there, if you can do something like that, you've been saving up your money and have not been going to star parties. Dave Ing says, we are invited. Scott, are you buying plane tickets and hotel? I'm not buying plane tickets. I'm just saying that you're invited. And I'm not saying that you're buying, normally the Starmus event was expensive, real expensive, and now it's reasonably priced. It's a week-long event, so if you want to do something that's going to blow your mind, you're going to be hanging out with astrophysicists, cosmologists, astronomers of all kinds. You're going to want to go to this. This is like a once-in-a-lifetime thing and going to be a lot of fun. And let me underline, they have party in this, okay? It's going to be a lot of fun. So,
when is it, Scott?
Starmus itself, let me bring up the
And
website.
this was founded by Brian May and
Brian May, Stephen Hawking, Dave Eicher was, I think, part of the founding people. But I think it was actually founded between Stephen Hawking and Garrick Israelian, who actually did a show with us not too long ago.
what do you think it costs, Scott? 5,000-6,000?
No, a couple of $100 to get a ticket.
No, the whole trip.
And it's Armenia, so the hotel rooms are cheap. Okay. Was it? I'll look up right now what it costs to go to Armenia. So hold on for a second, but that's the website. And it's going to be September 6th through the 11th in Yerevan, Armenia.
11 months to collect up your beer cans.
That's
from the
right.
side of the road.
And so let's see. Let's just do a quick priceline.com.
While you're doing that, hey, Dale, just
I don't
curious.
know.
Dale Beasley
Okay,
lives
Kansas City, flight from Kansas City, which is in the middle of the United States. Kansas City International Airport to Armenia. Yerevan. Here we go.
I'm curious, Dale Beasley lives up in California where the fires have been, and he's used our flashlight and battery pack to keep himself charged up for previous fires. I'm just curious, Dale, if you've had any outages this year or recently because of that. I know you had smoke for a while, but I don't remember you saying you were out of power. But our friends in Northern California, have to deal with that power outage, rolling blackouts now. It's tough on them.
Yeah.
But that battery pack, Dale says, got him through it because he got a couple of them, was able to keep his cell phones and computers running off that flashlight battery pack we sell for $99.
That's awesome. So it's cranking out. Okay, so it's going to be about $950 round trip. That's from Kansas City. Okay, if you live in New York or the East Coast somewhere, it's going to be cheaper. If you live on the West Coast, it's going to be a little bit more money. But that's not bad. Hotels in let's see, Yerevan.
Is that
Armenia.
the capital? Is Yerevan the capital of Armenia? Because I don't know.
I don't know. It's a big city, I guess. Leading hotels, I'm just looking at current prices. $47 a night. If you want someplace really nice, the Grand Hotel Yerevan, small luxury hotel of the world. Okay, I've stayed in luxury small hotels of the world. They're not this price. Okay, this is only $91 a night. Okay, most hotels in the small luxury hotel collection are $300 to $600 a night. The Venice Hotel Complex, $50. Hotel Roma, $37 a night.
That's USD.
Yeah. Capitol Hotel, $25 a night.
Book now.
You
before
can't
they
stay.
figure it out.
I'm sorry, folks. You can't stay in Springdale, Arkansas for these prices. Okay.
Well, actually, you can if you have your own RV. You can park in the Cracker Barrel in front of us for free.
For free. That's right.
And there's some days I'll get to work and they'll be
Flying
3 or
your
4.
RV to Armenia is going to be a little bit more money, though.
Drive it. Have to wait for over the North Pole when it freezes.
That's right. Jim Norwitz says the price of only a modest astrophotography setup, or maybe like a ski vacation anywhere in the United States. Okay. So this is going to be very, very cool. Elliot Neal says, wasn't the last Starmus held at the Canary Islands? Probably, because that's where Garrick Israelian is from. Okay. Actually, he's Armenian. He works in the Canary Islands. So, and that, so it's going to be very international. It's going to be a lot of fun. If you go, I swear it's going to be the event of a lifetime for you. So something to check out and think about. But anyways, it was fun having all you guys hang in there with us today. It's always fun to challenge Kent on these kinds of things. And we'll be back on today's Thursday. We'll be back on Tuesday, right?
Right.
And back on Tuesday.
What's my benchmark going to be? $350?
300. No, you're at 300 already, right?
Well, yeah, just
So,
$50, right? It's just making
I don't
it
know. I mean, if you can
500.
spend 300, you can probably spend 500, right? I
Yeah,
mean,
if you're 300, 500 is probably the next benchmark. We'll
500 is
do
really
that.
the next benchmark. At $500, you could have some nice scopes. And I'll
Yeah.
even let you include, if you're picking out of our line, I'll let you include the some of the silver grade stuff that we have.
Okay. Well,
Okay?
I already know what I'm going to do for one of them. I'm not going to give it away, but it involves people being able to use gear that they already have. Everybody's
Right. No, that's
potentially
true
got
too.
one. Yeah.
That's true too.
So this gives us an entry point into that, which is a great way to get started with gear you already have and may not think about as being astrophotography gear.
Yeah. And Richard Gray says for astrophotography, we go to $600. Once we get kind of through this visual range, I think we're gonna top out at 1,000. Okay. Then we'll start challenging Kent on putting together an astrophotography rig at a very low price. So we'll see if he can do it.
I'm doing astrophotography next week for $500.
500. Okay.
500.
All right. So a visual system and an astrophotographic system, 500 or under. All right. That's the deal. All right. Thank you. And
Hey, thanks everybody for share, like, ring the bell, whatever.
ring the bell. That's right.
Yeah. Let everybody help us spread the word about this.
Right. Right. Very good. Kent, thank you, man. It's great to have you on. By the way, Kent is president of the Sugar Creek Astronomical Society. He is with a group called NWA Space. They are trying to build a astronomy and space museum in Northwest Arkansas. He and his friend Clint Branham went and rescued a 24-inch Brashear refractor from, what, it was 1910? Thing weighs how many tons?
Well, it's an F-18. Let's do the math here. It's a 24-inch, so it's a 2-foot telescope, and it's F-18, which means that
the refractive lens is 24 inches across.
Focal length times diameter equals the length of the telescope. It's an F-18.
Yeah.
18 times 2 is 36. It's 2 feet in diameter and 36 feet long. That's how big this telescope is. You can't imagine it. If you haven't seen a big telescope,
it's a big one.
It's a big one. The telescope tube itself weighs about nearly 4,000 pounds. The mount and pier and telescope weigh 50,000 pounds. That's not counting the concrete base that it's had to be. It's a big telescope.
Historic instrument, so.
Right.
Sandra Faber, world famous astrophysicist at Lick Observatory, actually I think she got her PhD done with that particular telescope.
I think so. The first really legitimate claim of exoplanets was made with this telescope.
Yeah, that's
on
cool.
Bernard's star. It proved to be. They tracked it down to a periodic error situation in the telescope. However, Clint Branham and I, once we get this thing up and running, want to go back and prove that we can prove that the astronomer could have used this telescope
absolutely
and may actually have made the first exoplanet observation using this telescope, because Bernard's star does have exoplanets around it. And so it's possible.
See if we can get we'll have Jerry Hubble help us get a diffuser on that thing and see what we can do to confirm an exoplanet with it. That would be so cool. So.
Yeah, we're going to do it. But I want to prove that they could have done it with this telescope with the technology they had, and that they actually did it, which will push the exoplanet back into the 60s. I think it was in the 60s.
That'd be cool.
Yeah, that'd be awesome. So anyway.
All right.
I get geeky. We all get geeky.
That's cool.
Sometimes.
Being geeky's cool, man. So.
Yeah, for sure. Get excited
Thank you very
about
much.
astronomy.
As my dear friend Jack Horkheimer would always say at the end of every show that he had, keep looking up, and we'll see you tomorrow. So take care.